Welcome back. Time for more fun with ArcGIS Pro. Today is Lab 8, projections. Projections are fun. Um, we're just going to go ahead and get into it. Case 1. I kind of like talking about projections because it allows me to get on my soapbox a little bit and talk about how you'll get files that are pretty messed up and they're not projected. They don't have any projection information, and it's kind of painful when you get this stuff sometimes because you won't know the projection and you have to call somebody and they're like, well, I don't know the projection, so you have to figure it out sometimes. Um, but anyway, this is going to show you how to project files and then define those projections. Okay, so the lab has case 1: projection information is known but not defined. This case deals with the shapefile that is projected, but the projection information was not included with the shapefile. And I'm just going to show you, because we're going to be working the data from Canvas. This one is called County, and I'm going to show you what county looks like on my end. We're just going to go ahead and look at that data. And I've got it extracted. Here's county right here. If we take a look at the files in here, we see, you've got a shape file here, you've got your SHX here, here's a DBF, no projection file though, no PRJ file. So you can't do much with a file that has no projection. We're going to find that out here in a second. The instruction says this is bad practice, but it is known to happen. Yes, and more often than it should. Usually from professionals without a GIS background. You'll get a lot of guys who use AutoCAD or something like that, and they'll send you a shapefile, and then they'll just say, "Here you go," and you're like, "No, I need I need to know what this was projected in first." In such cases, use the define projection tool to fix the problem. You have to know what the projection is from the. You usually have to get it from the person who created your shapefile. But anyway, so we're going to get into number 1 here. Ensure you have downloaded and extracted your data. We've already done that. Begin a new project. Map. This is lab underscore 8. We will store this here, and then here and here. Okay, hit OK. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. I'm going to close this export pane first. We'll close element as well. All right, so here we've got this. We're going to go ahead and remove topographic, and we're ready to go. All right, so we've begun a new project. Add county.shape. So we'll go to map, add data, go to lab 8, data, located in county, county.shape. Try to add it, and we'll get something up here that says map data source is, I'll just bring the instruction over from my other screen here to show you what it's supposed to say. It says unknown coordinate system, map source, data sources, missing coordinate system information. Click here to view details. These are the details. So yeah, basically it's saying that it's missing a projection. It doesn't know what to do with that data. I mean, we've got this down here, but it's not projected correctly. It's and technically this is I'm trying to find the where it's located in the world. This is we're going to 1 here. We're going to 1 there. Yeah, so it's located down in like Africa somewhere, I believe. It's 1 west. There's 0. Yeah, I'm not going to go too much farther into this, but yeah, this is located down near. It's I would believe that's Southern Africa. So it's definitely not in the wrong area. And I can kind of tell because I know that the 00 is located off the coast of West Africa. So if we were to put this at 0, 0, I'm just going to get as close as I can so I'm not wasting your time here. But and I can see it because I'm looking at the XY coordinates down here. Go to 0. Yeah, so you can, we'll say that that's, off the coast of West Africa. So this is going to be it'll wind up, somewhere in the South Atlantic, Africa-ish. So anyway, we know that it's not projected correctly. I've just wasted a minute of your time telling you where Texas is projected. Just to show that, we know that it's projected the wrong way. And so the instruction says this means the data set is missing projection information. If we examine the files in the county folder, and we did this earlier, we can see that a PRJ file is missing. The PRJ file contains the information necessary to project a file on a map. So at this point, number 3, we will need to define the projection of the layer using the Define Projection Geoprocessing tool from our toolbox. So in the ribbon bar up here, we're going to hit Analysis, and then Tools, and that will pull up the geoprocessing pane. And there's a variety of ways that you can find this. We're going to do it the manual way. We're going to click on the word Toolboxes here, and then we're going to go to Data Management, and then Projections and Transformations, and then Define Projection. It's going to be this right here. So we're going to click on that, and it'll run. It's a geoprocessing tool that's going to run. It says this tool modifies the input data. Great. Thanks for letting me know. Drop down the menu. On the second page for number 5, it says drop down the menu for input data set and choose county. And that's what we want to reproject. So that's, or define the projection of. So that's what we're going to select. Next, we're going to click the globe icon. And we're going to choose a projection for it to project it correctly. So we're going to click that globe icon, and the instruction says that we're going to find U.S. National Atlas Equal Area Projection. And that is a projected coordinate system, so we're going to click projected coordinate system, continental, continental, there we go, North America, and it's down some, yeah, here we go. U.S. National Atlas Equal Area. We're going to select that, hit OK. That'll populate here. When we're done with that, we're just going to click Run. This is going to do its thing down here. And it says in number 7 on page 2, click Run in the geoprocessing pane. The tool will run to define the projection for the layer. It did that. It says look in the folder where the shapefile was originally stored. So let's go ahead and do that. That's here. We can see now that there's a PRJ file here. They've got lock files here, but don't worry about that. We see that it has a PRJ file. And what's really interesting about a PRJ file is that ArcGIS Pro uses a projection file to tell the computer where to project something. If you were to right click on this and there we go. We need to select it, and you can open it with Notepad, and you can check the projection for yourself. A lot of this is a lot of technical stuff, but ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro reads this data from this file. It's just a regular text file. We can see that it's a projected coordinate system, and it reads this as the projected coordinate system. This is its geographic coordinate system. All this stuff underneath it. So you can find out a bunch of information just by looking at that in Notepad. And that's usually without going into ArcGIS Pro and opening everything up and examining everything. That's just what I'll do is I'll open it up in Notepad and check the projection on it first. And if you plan to go into GIS and use GIS as a tool, or you plan to be an actual GIS analyst, that's something that will become handy in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and move that back out of the way. So we found the projection tool. Let's see, I was on number 7. And it says, remember that a shapefile is not one file. And matter of fact, I'm going to bring that back over here. A shapefile is not just this file here, even though that's what we call it. That's why whenever I talk about these things, I will usually say like dot shape or something like that instead of dot shape file. Because a shapefile is not just this. A shapefile is a data set of all of these. This is your shapefile. These are just here because you have the file open. It'll disappear once they're closed. This is a shapefile. All of these files here. So it's a data set. It sounds kind of weird, and you might ask why they started calling it a shapefile if it's more than one file. I didn't name them. Just think of it as a data set. So when somebody asks you for a shapefile, they're not asking you for only this. They're asking you for this. Because without all this other information, a shapefile is worthless. And as you could just see, you know, we were lacking a PRJ file. You know, one of those files, we were lacking one, and it screwed up the whole thing, and we have to rework it. So remember, a shapefile is the data set, all of these. And you have to keep all of these in the same folder or they won't work right. Okay, so it says to test the projected file, click Insert New Map in the ribbon bar. So we'll go to Insert New Map. And we do have this old one. You could probably close this if you wanted. We're going to go ahead and go back in the table of contents here. We'll turn off our topographic map. Add the county file to the new map. Go to map, add data, county.shape. Hey, there we go. It's not located in Africa anymore. It's located, this is in meters right here versus, you know, instead of decimal degrees like we had earlier. Just because a projected file, a projected coordinate system measures things in metric or imperial units or something like that instead of decimal degrees. It's kind of difficult to explain, but it doesn't base things off degrees and degrees are measured from the center of the earth out to the surface. That's how your degrees work. But anyway, enough about that. Let's see here. It says, yeah, you should not receive a warning for this file. I'm still on page 2. Close both maps. Easy. Easiest part of this instruction. Okay, so we've got that closed. Closing the maps doesn't delete the maps, but we no longer need them open. So we'll close them to prevent confusion. And that's true. If you go into catalog here and we go under maps, you can see that map 1 and map 2 are still there. I'm going to go back into my table of contents, and we'll move on to case 2. And this is just as easy. In case 2, we have the projection defined, but it's not in the desired system. A lot of times when I used to receive files, I would need them projected in a projected coordinate system called North Central Texas, State Plane North Central Texas, because most of my GIS work was done in North Central Texas. And a lot of times I would get them in a different projections, and I needed them reprojected to my projection. Here's how to do that. In this scenario, you have a shapefile. It does have a projection, and you need to change that. You would like to change the projection, so the shapefile will work in a map with a different projection. Okay, so we're going to, number 1, click Insert New Map. Insert New Map. Go. Move this. We will reproject the file into the Texas statewide system, meters. Open the geoprocessing pane by clicking Analysis Tools. If your geoprocessing pane is kept open here, you don't have to do that every time. I usually keep it docked right here just because it's a lot easier than going down and hitting analysis tools each time. Let's see here. It says click on toolboxes. So we've got toolboxes. Choose data management tools. That's, yeah, data management tools is here. We'll go down to projection and transformations, and we're going to hit project, not project, project. The project tool will change the geometry of the shapefile to meet the specifications of the new system/projection. Incorrectly choosing project instead of define projection, or vice versa, can have serious effects on the data and will likely render the data useless. Remember, if you want to define the projection, defining the projection is for a file that has no projection in the first place. Project just changes from one to the other, from one projection type to the other. So if I wanted to change from State Plains, Central Texas projection to North Central Texas, I would use the project tool. If I wanted to define projection, I would do that on a file that came with no projection at all. Okay. So we're going to hit project. I didn't add county.shape. Let's go ahead and do that. County.shape. That opens correctly. Come on. I know it will. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go back into geoprocessing. We've got our project tool open here. And if you don't have it open, we can go to data management, projections, project. The info data set is going to be county. Next, what this will do is it will create a new shape file. So you have to tell the computer what to call that new what to call that new shape file, and where to store it. So we're going to click on this folder right here. I've got to figure out where I want to store this. This is always fun, isn't it? Labs, we're going to lab 8. Yeah, we'll just store it right here, lab 8. And we're going to call this county projected. County underscore projected. Dot shape. Do not store it in the default location. Don't just type a new name right here. Find your folder, save it here. It prevents a lot of errors for this course when you do that. All right, so we've called it something. We're going to hit save. We're going to give it an output coordinate system next. So we're going to click this globe icon. And it's going to go in the, I said it was a Texas statewide mapping system. So that should be under projected coordinate system, state systems. Scroll to the bottom for Texas. Right, it's right here. Should be like the last one of it. Yeah, it's this last one. NAT 83, Texas statewide mapping system in meters. We're going to select that and hit OK. Here's right there. You don't have to worry about this. We're going to hit run, and it's going to create a new shapefile in the location that you chose here. You're going to hit run. It's going to do its thing. And it's going to do its thing. There we go. So let's take a look. Go back in the table of contents here. We've got county projected. Can't really tell the difference here, right? Let's go ahead. We'll go with the instructions here, and it says on page 4, page 4, number 5, insert a new map. And add county projected to the map. stored here, here, yeah. So we're going to get county projected, open in our new map here. And then we're going to check the spatial reference to make sure it was projected correctly. So we'll right click on it, go to properties. You can double click on it and it'll do the same thing. We go to down here to source, and then we'll go to spatial reference. And we can see here that it's the projected coordinate system is NAD 83 Texas statewide mapping system meters. So yeah, it projected correctly. No big deal, right? And okay, we know that it's right. We can also go and look. Let's look at that file. Bring this over here. And we'll go into here. It was stored in lab 8 here, right? We said it was county projected. If I look at this PRJ file here, this is created here. If I right click on that, open it in Notepad, there it is. And so remember, this is important because you're going to have to submit for your submission for this week. This is the only thing that you'll have to submit is this PRJ file. So you just, upload this PRJ file to Canvas. So you need to remember where you stored this file. That's the only thing you have to submit. We're not submitting a JPEG or a map or anything like that. All you have to submit is your PRJ file. So yeah, that's just really important. Remember where this is stored. If you don't know where it's stored, you can't find your projection file. Okay, so on page 5, it says close the 2 new maps. So that's what we're going to do. Close. And it says your turn. Ensure you have downloaded and extracted data for block groups.zip. Reproject the layer into the statewide mapping system. So it says reprojected. Let's take a look at that data. Block groups. You can see that it already has a PRJ, right? So we don't need to define a projection for it. All we have to do is reproject it. You would use a project tool. Call the output file blockgroups_projected.shape and ensure it's stored in the project folder. Upload the following file to the Canvas submission page, blockgroupsprojected.prj. So we've got a PRJ here. This is a weird name right here. Whenever you run that tool, you're going to store it in a folder, not the default folder, and you're going to find that PRJ file, and that's what you're going to submit. It's going to be called blockgroups_projected. This is your data set right here, right? You don't want to submit all of these. You're just going to submit PRJ. If you have issues, if for some reason the type doesn't show here, you can go to View, hit Details, and it'll show all that stuff here for you. Some of you guys' stuff might be, in list like that, right? Change your view to Details. It'll tell you that it's a PRJ file. Right click. If you want to open it in Word or Notepad to make sure that it's correct, you can open it in ArcGIS Pro like I showed you. You can also look at it through Notepad. See, this projection file is weird. It's only got a geographic coordinate system. You're going to give it a projected coordinate system, Texas statewide mapping system. Do not submit this. You're going to submit the new one. I've gone on for 2 minutes now about what you should do. It's not very difficult. Usually the problem is that people use the wrong tool and they'll use define projection, or they can't locate their PRJ file because they didn't change the default folder, or they can't locate they can't locate it on their computer. So pay attention to these things. The instruction has a very specific spot and shows you a very specific way of storing your data here. And that looks like it's about it. How long did we spend on this today? 25 minutes. Not bad to talk about projections. Projections are really cool. Um, if you start to get into mapping and things like that, you will actually end up having a favorite projection. It's kind of weird. I do have, excuse me, trying to drink my coffee here. I do have a couple of favorite projections, and it's really weird. And the only people who understand are other GIS nerds. So, anyway, if you have any questions, as always, give us a holler, and we will do what we can to give you a hand.